you about myself. I'm Hardik. I'm one of the founder at Xenett. By nature, I'm an accountant. It's just that I love technology, and which is what motivated us to develop a platform like Auto Review. So Auto Review was born from my own challenges. So it's not like we got a fancy idea and we started working on it. Not really like that. I was personally doing accounting, managing all my clients in about 12 years, and Auto Review has actually came out from like our own challenges, right? So that's a quick intro. What Auto Review is, it's an intelligent cleanup tool that connects with QuickBooks Online and ZeroFile, and it's gonna find all the possible errors within seconds, right? So it helps you keep your client's book accurate, and it also helps you kind of expediting your closing process, right? So that's a quick brief of what Auto Review is all about. Just to kind of summarize further, these are like the high level features of Auto Review. Like, it detects the errors, it standardizes the review process, meaning it's a platform like everyone follows the same process, right? It helps you get the accurate numbers, and that too on a real-time basis, right? So these are the kind of high-level features, which is what Auto Review is helping with. Now, in terms of use cases, all our customers use Auto Review for monthly and year-end close, cleanup projects, diagnostic review. Like, let's say whenever you get a new client or new lead, you wanted to find out how good or how bad the books is, it's going to help you with that. And it can also help you figure out the code for your clients. Like, because imagine if Auto Review tells you that, hey, these are the problematic areas, you can also figure out. So that's a kind of quick history about what Auto Review is all about. So now, the main point. So today's agenda. So today I'm really happy and excited that you guys have joined this Feature Showcase webinar, where we're gonna unveil some of the great features that I was personally excited for. Is because, like, when I was doing accounting, I really wish that I could use those features, but unfortunately, I mean, I couldn't. So anyways, the good thing about this is that most of this, not even most, in fact, all of those features that we're gonna showcase today are actually requested by all our customers. And we are actually firm believer of listening to our customers, right? Because we understand that we are not the users in a way. Like, we are developing these features for our customers. So most of the time our priorities goes like by the customers, and these are today's features that we're just going to talk about are actually requested by our customers. All right, so I'm gonna, like, the two main features that I'm gonna showcase is Client Portal and Zap. But apart from that, I do have some more features to talk to you even before I jump into these two main features. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'm gonna jump back to Auto Review so that I can actually start showing you. All right, so let me just do that. I'm gonna share again. All right, so Neha, you can see my screen on Auto Review, right?
Yes, Hardik.
Okay, awesome. So we actually made some enhancements in terms of experience. So one thing that we did was transactions edit, where, see, like, it's very easy. Like, you can click on it and you can simply change the transaction. Previously, it was like double clicking on it and you kind of click on drop down and things like that. But it's now pretty easy. I mean, you can click anywhere and it's just gonna be like you will be able to change it, right? So that's one thing that we did. Even the action items, as you can see, which are available on top on this right side, it's gonna be more visible. A lot of our customers were kind of finding it difficult because it was on hover, it wasn't like on the front itself. So now it's much more visible, where you can quickly take the actions like sign off, or if you wanted to, let's say, edit the transactions, it's more visible on this side. Okay, so that's another thing that we did. Third thing, a lot of people requested, especially with the duplicate entries, is that if they find a duplicate, they were not able to delete the transactions before. So now we also introduced that feature, like in case if you wanted to delete any transaction, you can click on it and you can delete that from auto review also. So that's another thing that is available. And one more thing that we have made this is like transactions added for invoices. So the thing was like previously the customer invoices in specific were not editable. So now because it has items, so now we have also made that available. So in case if you have customer invoices into uncategorized or entry without class or location, so now you will be able to even edit those transactions as well, right? There are some more transactions edit like sales receipt, deposit, which are actually coming up in next few days. But right now we have just released this for customer invoice. So these are some of the small enhancements that we have done with the auto review. Now I'm going to talk about Zap, right? Now, before I start talking about Zap, let me just give you guys a little bit background. So if you look at the whole journey of auto review so far, it was mainly focusing on finding the errors. It's like, it's going to tell you that, hey, you got this Uber transaction got coded to, let's say, um, office expense account, right? So then what you had to do was you still had to find out what is the right account. Then you open that particular transaction, then you click the drop down, find that account. So it's like a long process, right? So we are taking it to the next level in a way that whenever if we have the suggestions, so auto reviews AI, what it does is that it understands the trend, and in case if it's able to find or give you suggestions, it's going to start giving it to you. And let me just show you how exactly it's going to work, right? So you can actually access this Zap from your practice dashboard itself. Like, and again, by the way, we also made some changes on the practice dashboard as well, which is much more clean and look cool. So you're gonna see the zaps, and we call it zap is because so wherever auto review is able to give you guys suggestions, it's gonna be called zaps, and it's gonna be available here. So either you can access it from here, or you can go to that particular client and start doing it. So the whole purpose of introducing this zap is to enable you guys to fix those things on real-time basis, right? So first of all, let me show you how exactly it looks like. So whenever you click on this zap, right? So something like this, you're gonna see it. So it's like imagine you guys are recording transactions from bank feed. It's more like accept, match, and things like that. So what we are doing here is that we are giving you obvious suggestions, right? And accordingly, you can reclassify it. So this tells you that, hey, you got a transaction from Comcast, which was posted to utilities. It should generally go to telephone internet. So like if you feel comfortable, you just say accept and it's done, right? So it says Uber coded to office expense. It should go to travel. It's done, right? Check a fill. It should go to meals and entertainment. If you're not sure, you can also dismiss it, correct? So that way, all you have to then do is accept, and this is how we do is like we give you suggestions, most accurate suggestions, so that way you don't have to do as much dismiss as much as you will have to do the accept, right? So the whole goal here is that, see, we wanted to kind of make the whole reviewing game super easy. Like, you don't have to be in front of computer to do things like this, right? You don't have to spare a separate time to fix things like this. Our goal is that you can be anywhere, you can be walking, traveling, or wherever. It's like you see these things, you kind of start fixing it. So what we are also going to do is that we're going to start giving you some sort of suggestions on the email, or we're also going to come up with the mobile app where if you see zaps, you just start resolving it, right? So things like this will also help you to clean those things on a real-time basis so that you don't have to do much at the end. So that's what the zap is going to be. See, there are certain parameters that we have included right now, but our plan is to add more and more parameters so that it can generate more zaps, and it can actually help you fix most of the errors on real-time basis, right? So our goal here is to kind of smoothen the whole experience of fixing things, right? Instead of you typically going into transactions, selecting the drop down, and kind of the whole um, cumbersome experience. So this is what the Zap is all about. There are a lot of features planned right now, but that's what the whole concept. All right. So that's Zap for you guys. Now I'm gonna switch to client portal. Now this has been one of the most requested feature by a lot of our customers, and finally I'm really excited to kind of announce that we have been at least able to get the first phase out today. So see, whenever you were reviewing, and this is what used to happen. So let's say I'm into uncategorized transactions, and if I have the answer, I'm gonna fix it. But if I don't have the answer and I need to ask my client, what I might be doing is that I might be just exporting into Excel, sending an email to my client, attaching that Excel file, and then client will download the Excel file. Let's say if it has got 50 transactions, then what generally happens is that client answers 10 of them, send you 10 of them, and then you again do a follow-up. So if you look at the whole journey, there's a lot of back and forth, and no one has an actual picture of what are the open items, right? What are the open questions that you are waiting for, or what your client is supposed to provide the answers on. So with this portal, we actually kind of wanted to bring that transparency and also smoothen the whole collaboration platform, because uh, like client in any case, client will still have to answer either in an email or Excel file or a client portal like this, right? So the way it's going to work is that, let's say I'm into uncategorized transaction and I don't know what these transactions are all about. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask my client. I'm gonna still, okay, even before that, let me just let me just tell you how you can enable the client portal. So when you click on menu, when you click on client setting, you're gonna find a menu called client portal. You can enable it, and once you enable it, you will see like you can invite the client user as well. Okay, while inviting the client user, you will be like, it's gonna kind of email template. There's a ready-made email template that you can also configure it and kind of change it as well. Once you've done that, like you start asking the questions, you're gonna select all the transactions, say ask, and there are some default questions already, by the way. You can also configure it. So if there is same type of questions that you're asking every time, we call it snippets, right? So you can actually create those snippets so that you don't have to manually type the questions. Like, let's say for all these transactions, I just wanted to find out, hey, what are these transactions for? I'm gonna say ask, and that's it. The questions are submitted. Now, imagine me as a client. Now, see, we are not sending the notification for every single such request because your clients might find annoying. So then I'm also going to touch base on how the clients are notified, right? But let me just show you now what clients going to see and how they're going to respond. Okay. Now, okay. So this is what the client's portal look like. By the way, right now I just have to enter the email address, but the clients will not have to. All they will need to do is just remember the 6-digit PIN, which they have to set up, and that's it. We actually didn't, I mean, we thought about it. Previously, we thought that we're going to keep that link open, like they just don't have to worry about username and password. But then we thought that from the security perspective, we at least wanted to introduce the 6-digit PIN, which is just like your phone passcode, right? All they have to remember the 6-digit PIN. That's it. No, they don't have to remember the email address and things like that. Now, once they are into that, and another reason we also thought about is because at times we might be asking some information like, hey, can you send me the bank statement or W-9 forms? And at times it contains so much confidential information. So we say that at least 6-digit PIN would at least take care of security. Now, once the client logs in, they're gonna start seeing the questions, right? And as a client, I can also ask those. I can kind of respond the questions, right? So let's say now me as a client, I have multiple ways to provide my feedback, all right? So I can say that, hey, this Walmart, it was actually office expense, right? And I could say office supplies and software, and then I could say, hey, this is done, right? So it's gone. In here, I could say that, hey, this is actually telephone, and it's done. If I wanted to put some commands, like I can also do that. It's a business expense, for example, and then I can also attach the document if I need to, and those attachment can also be done. That's it. Send and close, and it's gone as well. Correct. So this is how they're gonna be able to, like, either they can leave the comments, upload the documents, or even they can change the transaction. Now, one thing I like to tell you guys is that as a client, whenever they are updating any accounts or whenever they are changing the name or class or location, it is not actually directly going to the QuickBooks file, right? It will still ask you for your approval before even it gets to the QuickBooks file, because at times clients are not accountants, right? And they may not know what the GL or what class it should go to, but at least we are kind of facilitating it for them. Now, as a client, as soon as I respond all those questions, it's gonna be I can find them into responded tab as well. Correct. If I go back as an accountant, and this is like, by the way, we have a separate view for the questions. Like as an accountant, I can see all the open questions here. I can see, hey, there are 3 of them which I need to review, right? So imagine as an accountant, you have a clear-cut idea as to what are the open questions that you are actually waiting for your client to answer, and what are the questions that your client has responded, but then you have to take the action. Okay. So now what's going to happen here is that, see, whenever client provides you any feedback on, let's say, account or name or class, you have an option to select that. Like you can dismiss it as well, right? So if you think that, hey, this is right, you're just gonna accept it and that's it, right? Otherwise, like you can also select your own account and you could say, hey, this is not right, this should go to telephone. So you can also select the custom account as well. Just in case if your client has uploaded any sort of document, you guys will also be able to attach to that QuickBooks transaction as well. Correct. So just in case, let's say if you requested a receipt for any transaction, client uploaded it, right? You will be able to attach that receipt directly to QuickBooks as well. Correct. So that's pretty much straightforward. And there's a comment section as well. And you could say that, hey, let's say in this case, client sent you a receipt, but it's not legible, it's not readable. You're gonna say, it's not readable, please send me the new one or something like that, right? And you can do resend. The moment you do resend, it's gonna get to the open and the client is gonna find it. So that way, either you can close it from your end, and when you resolve it from your end, it's gonna get into the resolve. But if you decide to resend it to your client, it's gonna land again on this open transactional questions. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. So at any point of time, as I mentioned, client will have a clear visibility as to what are the requests or what are the questions that my accountant is waiting for, right? And at the same time, accountants will also have better visibility as to what questions that he needs to take action on and what are the still open questions. All right, that's a kind of workflow. Now what I just showed you was mainly the transactional questions, but we also have non-transactional questions, because at times, let's say you are reviewing profit and loss or balance sheet, or all of a sudden you wanted to or like you wanted a bank statement, or you wanted a W-9 form, or it could be anything, right? You could also kind of say ask, and you could say, hey, can you send me W-9 W9 for Thanos, right? So then you could say done, right? So you can also ask non-transactional question as well, and your client can see it here. Okay, so like this. So they can start doing it. Please see attach, and that's it. Upload it, and that's done, right? So that way, even not only just the transactional questions, but the clients will also be able to ask anything which is not transactional as well. Correct. So that's kind of how the whole workflow looks like. There are certain features here as well, like some features. Let's say if for both these transactions, if client had similar comments, let's say both of them were Home Depot, or there are 10 transactions for Home Depot, they can select them all and they can say these are all office expenses, right? So they can also provide one comment, and then the one comment will be attached to both these transactions. So they don't have to literally do that for individual transaction, but they can also do multi-select and provide their comments as well. Okay, that's that. Now, as far as the client notifications are concerned, so as an accountant, let, let me just show you that part. 1 second, real quick. So what's going to happen, guys, is that you can actually schedule the client notifications as well. Meaning, if you say that, hey, my client should get notified on Thursday on this time, you can do that as well. So when you go to client, put like client setting, client portal, notification preferences here, you choose if you want to schedule it like daily, weekly, monthly, or however you like. So even, and the notifications will only be sent if at all there are any open questions. Let's say if there are no questions for your client, the notification won't be sent, right? So your client's gonna, imagine from the client's perspective, client's gonna get the email, click on it, and they just start responding it, right? So there is no download, it's just real time happening. So that way the clients will be notified. So that's one way that you can notify your client. Another way is that, let's say the last notification was sent on let's say Monday, but today you actually come across 50 different questions and you want to actually notify right now. So there is a way that you can also send a manual notification, like notify client right now, and you can also send it. So that way you can also do on demand notification to your client as well. Okay, so that's one thing, that how you can notify client. uh, when the client gets notification, they don't get like 50 questions in the email. They just get a link, they click on it, enter 6-digit pin, and that's it. They start responding it. That it only. Okay. Uh, being as an accountant, what you're gonna see is that when you go to practice dashboard, right, you're gonna find out. Like, imagine you have all your clients here. You're gonna find out, hey, for this client, there are 3 open, there are 2 review that I need to kind of take on. So this can also help you, like which client has how many open questions, how many you have to review, and accordingly you can plan it. Okay. One more thing I wanted to show you there is the shareable link. Is that, let's say you are in client portal, client just forgot about the link, you can quickly click on it, copy the link, send it, and it's done, right? So just in case if client forgot about it, what is the link? This will help you quickly copy the link, and you can basically share with your client. Now, I'm also going to talk about snippets a little bit. So snippets is more like a template questions. By default, we give you guys some template questions, but in case if you wanted to do it, that's available actually on a practice level. If I go to practice setting, snippets, and this is where like most, if there are some questions that you generally ask most frequently, you're gonna just add them here, right? So you could say, hey, what's the class for this, or something like that, right? And then it's a shortcut. So when you save it, so whenever you then go to any client and ask questions, it's like you're gonna find it. And there's a button here that we have put at the bottom of the page. So let's say on whatever screen that you are on, And if you wanted to ask something, you can just click on it here and start asking it. Okay, so you could say, hey class, and that's done, right? So that's how the snippet works. Okay, and by the way, you don't even have to go all the way to practice setting. There is a way to also edit right from this only. Okay, so that's what you can do. Let's snippet. And even inside auto review, wherever you are, let's say you are on unreconciled entries and you wanted to ask something, so it does not have to be just uncategorized transactions. You can actually ask questions on anything. Like, let's say I created this view called fixed asset purchases without receipt. I mean, I particularly want receipt for all those purchases, right? Because I need it. So I created this view. All I could do, select them all, and I could just say ask, I need receipt, and that's it, done. Okay, so that way it's kind of, you can be anywhere on auto review and you can ask questions. And whenever you have asked questions to your client, you're gonna find this icon, right? So what this does is that, I mean, this indicates that there's something going on, like there's some questions on that transaction. And whenever the client responds, you can also see the comments here too, right? So it's like, imagine you had asked some questions on uncategorized to your client, and if you want to see the client response, you will be able to see it here if there are any comments or any documents here. So that way you can quickly take actions and resolve those stuff as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly scan through the chat and see what people have to talk about. Date stamp, yes. There is a whole audit trail. Text code, as in, can I select those transactions? Yes, Andrew, as long as you have that custom view created, you'll be able to do that. Yeah, I mean, I think my team is already responding to a lot of these things. Now, this is a first version. This is not everything that we wanted to do for client portal, guys. There are actually a lot of features that we have actually planned. Let me just talk about that for a second. So for the client portal, the next things that we are actually releasing is a white labeling. See, right now there is no white labeling, it's still Xenett. But if you wanted to attach your own domain, right, then you should be able to do that with the white labeling. You can apply your own branding, own logo, own color, and everything. Okay. One thing is that the account selection for the clients, or class selection for the clients, because at times when you allow your clients to select the accounts, right, you certainly don't want them to select depreciation account on uncategorized transaction, right? Or you don't want them to select accounts like equity or any sort of accounts which you don't expect. So you can actually restrict the list, so the clients can only choose the accounts from that list only. So again, that's going to be optional for you guys if you want to restrict that list. Third thing that we are kind of gonna introduce is the text messages, because at times client might be getting so many emails, so you will be able to text it from this system. Another thing is voice note, right? Like client, as I mentioned, we wanted to make it easier for both accountants and clients. If there is a long thing that they wanted to explain, and it's like, it's not too easy to write and explain in the, like, by writing, they can also leave a voice note, right, which you can actually listen to voice note while you are in auto review. So that will also enhance the whole communication, because not everything needs to be written. So that's something coming up. And these are the very top level features that I'm talking about right now. And the mobile app as well. We have already started working on mobile app as well. So that way, in case if someone wanted to just don't like the emails, they can anytime log into mobile, start responding as well. So that way, it's kind of expedite the whole collaboration as well. So that's what the client portal overall looks like. Uh, there are a lot of other features that we have planned for client portal as well. So the first phase, and by the way, guys, this is unfortunately not going to be available from today, but you guys have to wait for Monday, because we kind of just want to prepare some documentation and videos and things like that. So anyways, So that's kind of a very high level. And I also wanted to talk to you guys about Zap little bit, because uh, with this Zap, we are also gonna improvise our whole browser extension. I know that a lot of you guys are using browser extension, our Chrome browser extension. So with this Zap, like we also wanted to make the whole experience super easy. Like the moment you log into QuickBooks file, because you guys would log into QuickBooks, you're gonna start seeing the Zaps and you're gonna start resolving it. So that's where we are also heading towards, where we want you guys to fix these things real time with the minimum efforts. We don't want you to spend or spare separate time to do this kind of stuff. So that there are also a lot of things planned for the Zap. Okay, so that's what kind of the whole new features showcase is all about. I'm also going to talk about, because we are in next few months actually, we have planned a lot of enhancements, and it's going to change the value proposition of auto review. So I'm going to kind of take few minutes to also talk about that too. So see, until now, if you look at the whole auto review side, I mean, not just auto review, but the whole accounting, there are mainly four functions involved. Like you do bookkeeping, then close, you kind of review it, close, and then the reporting. These are the, like, I would broadly categorize them into this main four function. The bookkeeping part, you guys are already doing it. There is a lot of automation already available. You have a bank feed, you have a dext, and all those things. So the data entry is almost kind of done that way. But if we talk about after the bookkeeping is done or after the reconciliation is done, there are some other functions as well. Like you want to make sure the data is correct. That's where the review of data comes into the picture. And that's where the speed mode, which is what we have right now, comes into the picture, that it's going to find and tell you that, hey, these are the problematic areas, right? So it's going to help you detect it and it's going to help you resolve it. Close auto review is actually, I would say, not completely close management system, but it's contributing to that. What I mean by that is that because a lot of you guys might be following a detailed and organized close process where you have a separate to-dos, you have a, like you have working files, you leave a review note and things like that, right? And finally, like you once the closing is done, you might just want to create a good and fancy reporting package that you like to share with your clients, right? So if we look at right now, and this is where we are heading towards, we already have uh, kind of touch base on finding the errors, and we will continue to add more and more review points so that we can actually detect every possible errors, right? So we will continue to add more and more review points, but we are taking it to the next level where we're gonna have a sophisticated and very well organized close process in place in next few months, right? So that way, and I'm also gonna show you a wireframe just to give you guys an idea of what exactly I'm talking about, so that you guys can make sense out of it. So if we try to understand the closing process, there are a lot of things happen actually. First of all, as a part of closing, you're gonna fix the errors. Then in between the process, like you have some questions for your team, like you want to ask. So there's internal communication for that. You might be using some sort of tools like Slack or Teams, right? In between the close process, you might have some questions for your clients as well. So you need to ask, like, again, you need to go back to another system like Google Sheet or ClickUp or whatever that you guys are using, and then ask your questions to your client. And then you might be preparing some sort of working files like prepared schedules or accrual schedules or aging report, or you leave the review notes and things like. So if you look at the holistic picture, everything happens, but at the different places, right? So we are actually bringing everything to the one place so that it's so easy and it's so organized to close the books smoothly as well as pretty quickly. So um, where is the screen? Okay. So, I mean, again, this is not, just don't literally go by how exactly it's going to look like, but I thought to at least put the pieces in place so I can show you. So look at this, like there's a speed mode here, which is what you're going to see right now. But then there's a whole dedicated close module where you're going to configure it. Like when we close, we're gonna go through like balance sheet items. Hey, I need to make sure my bank accounts are accurate. I need to make sure my account receivable is accurate. I need to make sure the fixed assets are right. I need to make sure. So it's more like a to-dos that you can create, and you can also put your checklist as well. Like you could say that, hey, I need to review and reconcile transactions, but I need to check this. I need to make sure there are no transfer entries. I need to make sure there are no long unclear checks. So you don't have to remember as such anything. It's right here, right? And you can also prepare your reconciliation as well. So for example, in this case, you have a Bank of America account. You can put your and by default it's going to pick the amount from your books, but just in case if you are maintaining any sort of working, you can also connect it here, and that way you can see the difference here. So that way, in case if at all you are managing any of your working outside in Excel or anywhere in Google Sheet, you will be able to connect it here. So that way it's pretty straightforward, because now it's like when you are working on, let's say, bank accounts and credit cards, everything that you would otherwise have to do outside anywhere, you will be able to do it. Let's say you got some question here for your team, you will be able to do it from here. Or you had some question on client, for your client, you will be able to even start the conversation with your client as well, just like the client portal that I was showing it to you. You wanted to leave some review notes, you can also do it from here. So that way, like, we're gonna keep into like more organized manner, and whoever does the closes will exactly know the steps involved. They cannot really forget about anything. They don't have to remember anything. So not only it's gonna make the preparer's life easier, but even the ones who actually reviews, right? Because as a reviewer, if I get in, I can clearly see where things are. And there are going to be some filters at the top. I can clearly see, hey, what accounts I don't have reconciliation prepared? Where are the differences? And I can also quickly see the working associated here as well. Correct? So that way I don't need to log into OneDrive, to my client folder, to January folder, to bank statement folder, and then find the files. There is going to be a shortcut link. I can just click on it and it's just going to open right there. So that way it's going to also make the reviewer's life easy, because it's going to bring more visibility as well. Okay. And another thing that we've also thought about is that, see, there are accountants involved, then there's an internal team, then there's a client, and at times there are someone who prepares the taxes. And at times also there's a communication happening, most likely during the year end, right? Like when you submit something to your CPA, it's he or she gonna ask you a lot of questions. Again, the same thing, it's gonna be trail emails, and there are a lot of information get exchanged during the emails, and things might get lost. So even this will have a different interface, just in case if you guys will need to invite your tax preparer, you will be able to do that, right? So all the communication stays at the same place. So again, that's just a kind of a very high level overview of where we are heading towards in next few months, right? So it's not just going to be error finding tool anymore. It's going to be completely close management tool, which will kind of change the way how you guys are closing the books. Okay. So I think I spoke enough now. So let me see if I'm not missing out anything. I think I covered everything. Let me just see. So one second. Just in case, guys, if you wanted to ask something, feel free to unmute yourself and bring it up.
All right.
Yeah, Tanya. Yeah.
Okay, hi. I just have to say I am so excited to see all of this. And thank you, Vishal, just for confirming that question. So the templates can be for both. So is this launching Monday as well, the templates for the custom searches and this?
Yes, yes.
I am so excited. You guys have come such a far way in the last 2 years. And I'm glad to see so many people on the call. Tiffany, we need to get you working on this soon. Get it set up. But yeah, this is so excited. Thank you. I will mute myself and everybody else can, but I'm just so excited.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Jim, you
Hardik?
wanted to say
Hardik,
something?
Yeah, I'm excited about this month-end close software. This is a,
Mm-hmm.
pain point for us. We have all these steps in Excel, and it would be
Mm-hmm.
great to have everything in one place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what we wanted to actually do because I was also personally doing the closes myself, and at times it's not that easy. So, I mean, as the time comes, we will be sharing the screens and things like that with you guys just to get more feedback on that. So, just finding my charger.
Hardik, this is Joy. I had a question on the close. Will we be able to see past months closing backup? So for each month, will you be able to go back and look at the activity for August or July with the
Yeah,
comments?
you will be. You will be able to. It's gonna be all like a package. You can go back to any months and you can find out what happened, what comments, communication, attachments, and everything.
Okay.
Okay, so that just what Joy just said there just kind of created another question because I know we talked about this a few years ago, Hardik.
Mm-hmm.
Said, is this going to basically, if we do a year-end close, if
Mm-hmm.
we do a year-end close, will we be able to use this as the working papers type of
Oh
thing?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that kind of that's where you're going with this? We can do a year-end close, the working papers, extract, send it to the accountant.
yeah. Exactly. So it's gonna be like not just year-end close, but I mean you can do monthly, quarterly. I mean, depending upon your client, because a lot of clients actually also prepare the work papers on a monthly basis, just like for their own processes. So
Mm-hmm.
they decide how they want to use it, but it will have the full flexibility about everything. So yeah, I mean, Ali. So that's what I mean. I think Vishal has already answered. So all right, anyone else? Any wish list? Any feedback? I mean, would just happy to answer.
Well,
Next
I'll tell
step,
you,
a GL.
I'm already a big fan. So you guys have a great product. I use it all the time. It has shortened the amount of time I use to close, and I'm looking forward to these features. The sooner you roll them out, the happier I will be. So rock and roll.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you. Uh, who else? Let me just quickly see the chat. Andrew, yep, hello.
Hello. Yeah, the only wish list, just because you asked,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of mentioned it already in the chat, but it's just I don't even know how it would work, but I like the idea of having, like, I don't like the idea of having a client portal for all these different systems. So I have one for personal tax, I have one for corporate tax, and I have one, well, this would be for bookkeeping. Right now we're using like a Google Sheet. So I don't know if that would be a dream, would be as if somehow we could, because it's not going to be necessary, because you're talking about sending the year-end documents to the accountant, but if we're the accountant, I also need to then send those questions off to the client.
So I'm actually confused. So what would you want to see exactly? Sorry.
I don't know what I want to see exactly out of that's the problem. But it's just, yeah, I guess like right now, because what we're doing is we're working with clients for personal taxes, corporate taxes, and bookkeeping, right?
Okay.
And so this is very clearly the client portal from bookkeeping perspective, but then I have to tell, okay, I want you to answer these questions. They go, okay, which portal did I need to log into? You asked me 3 different questions. So it would be nice to be able to tie that together, even if it's just through, maybe even just through white hat, like the, what do you call that? The white, anyway, so if we can link it maybe on our own website and say personal taxes go here, corporate taxes go here, bookkeeping questions go here.
Got it. No, makes sense. I got it. What you're talking
Maybe
about.
even because like Andrew and I were kind of chatting in there too, like we use Listio right now. So even if we were to send a link with Listio, and because we've got something like this set up in Google Sheets, for example, and as long as they're logged into Google Sheets or to Google, it will allow them to open it, and we just give them viewing access, or like viewing or editing access. So something like this, maybe again allowing their Google sign in, we could then either email the link, send the link through Liscio, however we're doing that. And if they're already signed in through there, they can then access it without the PIN. That might save that extra step and make the clients not feel like it's a portal, because I feel Andrew's pain with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and that still has the security, because they still have to be logged in through the Google sign-in. So maybe that.
Yeah, makes sense, Tanya. And I think, I mean, as we are just getting started, I mean, I'm pretty sure that you guys will be providing so many cool ideas, and we will definitely be kind of happy to incorporate that. No, Tiffany, no fees. So
That's awesome. Now, one last thing, and I know I've called you out on this on other webinars that I've done for, and I'm going to do it again, because I know a lot of us have been talking about this, and Tiffany was on a call with me, and I think we're going back on the same call. Please, please, please consider adding in some type of receipt capture. If you guys already have a portal, allow them to take a picture with a little bit of extraction, something like that, because I know some of us are, again, frustrated with error rates. And some of us have already been told that fees are going up hugely with one of the other receipt capture places. And I know I, for one, would happily jump and pay more to have all this in here, especially with the fact that you guys, again, the past 2 years and working with you guys, and how quickly you react, and that it is, you have your, again, all of your error rates are basically nothing, because you guys have put stuff into this. So, hey, you can put that on the roadmap somewhere next soon too, if you want.
yeah. No, absolutely. That's, I already have it on roadmap. It's just that not sure where we're gonna get to that. But yeah, point well noted, Tanya. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you'll be seeing me in Slack a lot more now. I'm gonna play with this again, and yeah. I'll be in there. I finally have time freeing up in the next month, and that was my plan, to get in there. So, yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Any questions from anyone? Otherwise, we should be fine then. So we will definitely be sharing this with you guys, and there are going to be a lot of tutorials and things like that, documentation and everything. So it's gonna be pretty straightforward, because we will put enough instruction for that as well. So yeah, Tiffany, I know. All right, any questions from anyone? Otherwise, I think we are good to go. Let me just quickly see the chat and see if there's anything unanswered. All right, I think that's it, guys. Thank you very, very much for joining this, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am to use these features, and it's gonna be available from Monday. Feel free to reach out in case if you need a personalized demo. I'll be happy to walk you through that as well with your team, or like just in case if you need dedicated time, feel free to book the calendar. So that's it, guys. Thank you and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.